Hello everyone, my name is Eclipse Leviathan, and I am here to show you how to solo the Grandmaster Excision in Destiny 2. Now, you are here because you want to get the Ergo Sum Catalyst, but the problem is that nobody is playing Grandmaster Excision anymore. Fret not, you have come to the right place. I have two separate videos here. This first one will show you how to get through the first room, and the second one will show you how to get through the witness room and ultimately fight the witness himself. And this whole thing started back in June. I was really looking at this situation. I mean, we were a year out from the final shape, and people were starting to drop off. The people who had gotten the Ergo Sum Catalyst had basically gotten it, and you basically forgot about Grandmaster Excision. And why wouldn't you? There's no other reason to go into Grandmaster Excision to get anything. There are easier ways to get Ergo Sum. You can do various other activities in the Pale Heart to get it. There's no reason to go through this really painful sort of level to try to get it again. It's epic. It's an amazing, amazing thing, especially when you're going in with a group of people. It's an amazing fight. I remember the first time I played Excision, it was overwhelming and phenomenal and exciting, and they really cooked with this level. But at the same time, once everyone had played it, it's kind of like, there's not really a whole lot of people doing this anymore. So to get the Ergo Sum Catalyst is phenomenal. It is probably, the Ergo Sum is a sword I use all the time. I'm a Stronghold Titan main, so I use Ergo Sum all the time, and the Catalyst makes this thing basically a primary ammo sword. It's phenomenal. It's really good. And so I wanted to make sure that people got their hands on it, and I wanted it to be evergreen. I wanted to make sure that it was artifact independent, that the weapons that you could get, the exotic armor pieces you could get, were easily accessible. So I wanted to make, those were kind of my goals. I wanted to make sure that people could gain access to these items, be able to go in, do this without having to grind through a lot of stuff, and basically complete this and get the Ergo Sum Catalyst. So, if that's what you're here for, again, you've come to the right place. Without further ado, I will go into the builds. Thank you so much. Oh, and I will have dim links for the builds as well. Alright, so getting right into the builds here. The first build we're going to use on the first room is a Void Stronghold build. And make sure you're using this version of Stronghold. I know Bungie nerfed it in the past, and hopefully they won't nerf it again in the future. But we want to use this version, the maximized guard stat on equipped swords. You take reduced damage while blocking with a sword, rapidly damaging targets after blocking shots with a sword. Grants restoration ×2 for a duration determined by the number of shots blocked. This is essential to your survival, and works really well with a Flash Counter Cold Steel or Aurora Dawn. And this thing is exceptionally powerful, especially when paired with Stronghold, because you are slowing and freezing enemies just by reflecting damage. And it's not only does the stunning effect that Flash Counter normally does, but it actually freezes the enemies as well, which is huge, huge, huge. So great against overloads, and evergreen against overloads. You will always, as long as they don't change, slowing and freezing of overloads, you will basically be able to handle them regardless of the artifact mod. Alright, so that's the meat and potatoes of this build, is Stronghold and Aurora Dawn with Cold Steel Flash Counter, just to keep you alive. I mean, I know it's kind of cheesy, but, it's Stronghold. It is what it is, and, you love it or you love to hate it, either way. In the energy slot, we have Choir of One. You can use something like either Hard Light, or you can use Le Monarch. I use Choir of One because it's a lot more stable, and there are people where it's against their religion to go double primary, so I put an energy slot here just for the extra street cred. But basically, honestly, it's the best weapon to use to break the Hive Wizard's shield, and you're going to be using Shield Break Charge here, and this combination, 2 Shield Break Charges, basically acts like stacks on stacks when you're fighting that wizard, because Wizard has a Void Shield. You break the shield with Choir of One, you get 2 stacks of armor charge just for doing that alone, which is amazing. And so in our top slot, we have a Kinetic Tremors Scout Rifle. You can go and use Force Memorializer, anything with Kinetic Tremors. I think Shax sells Randy's Throwing Knife, which has Kinetic Tremors, so you just got to burn through, some Glimmer and some enhancement cores, and you should be able to get Randy's Throwing Knife with Kinetic Tremors. It's not hard to do. So, and he's always selling that, so I wanted to make sure that a lot of these builds were evergreen, and that you could basically get them whenever, but these were the weapons I used. Getting into the subclass, we're going to use Sentinel for the first 4 supers, and for the 5th super, we're going to use Ward of Dawn. And when I tell you you're going to burn through 5 supers in 15 minutes, trust me when I tell you you're going to burn through 5 supers in 15 minutes. with the high super stat you have, the amount of damage you're doing to some of these bosses. So it's actually pretty good. Rally Barricade, of course, with a short cooldown. I love High Lift. I know there's something wrong with me mentally, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, I like jumping higher. I suck at jumping puzzles. I'm really terrible at that. So I use High Lift so that I don't die, generally speaking. Shield Throw, because you need a melee. We're not really using this too much. And Magnetic Grenade. Now, Magnetic Grenade is really, really good for this when you're taking on that Hive Wizard, because number one, you're going to be breaking her shield with match damage, so you'll be getting the armor charges. But additionally speaking, the Magnetic Grenade is going to like attach to her, which if you try any other grenade, unless you're really good at throwing grenades in these environment, and bear in mind too, we're going to be a fair distance away from this wizard. You're going to see in the footage how far away we are. It's not, crazy far, but trying to throw a grenade and make it connect is really hard to do. Magnetic Grenade takes that away, takes away that problem, and it's got a low cooldown, which is fantastic. Offensive Bulwark, which is good. I mean, you're going to get an overshield when you, with Bastion. And so anytime you drop your Rally Barricade, you're going to get an overshield that refreshes, which is amazing. And Offensive Bulwark recharges your grenade. It recharges 400% faster, which is the key here. And basically, you're going to have your barricade and your grenade kind of playing off each other a little bit. So you'll pop your barricade while your grenade is recharging. Your grenade recharges faster. You hit and weaken. And by the time you do that, your barricade will be back. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to be able to do that. Our fragments go a little something like this. We have Echo of Obscurity. This is really, really key for staying alive in certain environments. You might be able to pull off finishers, and if you can and go invisible, it's really great. It's not always something that we can plan, but it's clutch when it comes in, when it happens. So Echo of Undermining, we want to avoid grenades to weaken targets. It's definitely helpful against that wizard, so I'll take the minus 20 grenade hit just so I can have that happen. Echo of Cessation, when you do pull off a finisher, pushes your enemies back a little bit, which is nice. Good to get a little breather from time to time. And of course, Echo of Persistence. We want our overshield and our invisibility to last as long as humanly possible. So moving on to the armor pieces. We're going to go, I'm running Tech Sec because it's good for it because I'm using a kinetic scout rifle in the top slot there. But, sometimes you get the kinetic shockwave, but it's okay. You're not, the Wrecker here, we're doing significantly increased kinetic damage to shields. So why not just do that instead of using a void weapon? Well, the problem is that the shield on that wizard is exceptionally tanky, and I try to use it with the kinetic weapon, and it just doesn't crack the shield. It's just really hard to do. So, but at the same time, we want to boost our kinetic weapons in any way we can. So we're using Tech Sec, and it's basically the best armor I have right now because you get a ton of it. So in the top slot here, we have Dynamo. We're not, look at all this stuff. All this stuff is for like supers. You're killing ads. We're generating orbs by killing ads. We're not really killing a lot of ads in this part. We're not. It's not happening. What do I? In-flight compensator. I'm going to airborne. No airborne effectiveness. Maybe aim down sight stuff. We're going to use the targeting in the next two builds because, again, we're not trying to kill a bunch of ads. We're not even trying to grab a bunch of ammo. I'm not even going to burn through a ton of ammo here. You should have plenty of Choir of One ammo left over. We're only using Choir of One for this specific part. So we're going with Dynamo because we want to reduce our super cooldown when we pop our class ability in your targets. I think this is like 8 to 10% of your super when you do this, which comes in really handy in this part. And I had an extra spot, so I threw a Harmonic Siphon in here, but I'm not even using this. I don't pick up any Orbs of Power. We went over the Stronghold Gauntlets and the Shield Break Charge, so that's that. We're using Charged Up because if we're generating so many armor charges from Shield Break Charge, might as well take full advantage of that. And a Void and an Arc resistance because Tormentors shoot the Void damage, and everything else shoots arc damage at you, so it's better to just kind of have that. Triple Kinetic Surge for our Scout Rifle, for our Kinetic Tremor Scout Rifle. So how this works is you throw your Magnetic Grenade, it breaks the shield of the wizard, it makes her weaken, and then you get your armor charges, and then you get your Kinetic Weapon Surge. So you're weakening, and you're getting 22% increased damage for your Scout Rifle. So that helps there. Why am I harping on about the wizard so much? You'll see it in the footage. The other bosses are ridiculously easy to kill. I kill them with a super. That's it. Okay? The Hive Wizard is the tankiest one. And most of the people kind of hang out in one spot and kill this wizard. But I'm going to show you a spot you can hang out and you hardly take any damage. It's pretty amazing. And then in the mark, We have time dilation here because we want those kinetic charges to stick around a little longer, not like you need to because you're generating a lot of armor charge anyway, but it's there just in case we need it. And of course, we're using, this comes back to our grenade feeding our class, where we're building up our ability to get our abilities back. Ability to get our ability back. Wow, okay. Moving on to the next build. In the next room, we're going to go before... So what's going to happen is you're going to kill these bosses and take their plates, right? And then once you take the plates, the enemies go away, and then you kill the final one is a Tormentor. You kill a Tormentor. We're going to pop our Ward of Dawn, and that will last about 45 seconds with 177 super, and that will give us enough time to basically kind of hang out for maybe 15 seconds using Stronghold to block the damage from 2 different subjugators and a few other adds. So it's hard, but it's 100% doable. Once we do that, we're just going to take this build and we're going to roll up into the Witness Room, and we're going to use Aurora Dawn to take down the 2 Overload champions, okay? Because they're going to rush the bubble, okay, that Saint 14 provides. You know, just take them out because they're a pain, and they will knock you out of the bubble while you're changing out your loadouts. So you don't want them creating those kinds of problems for you. You want them gone so that you can change your loadout. So once they're toast, we change our loadout, and we go and do this one. Now this one is an Icefall Mantle build. Now if you don't know what Icefall Mantle does, Icefall Mantle, while you have a Stasis super equipped, Rapid Stasis Final Blows give you Frost Armor. You heal a small amount whenever you gain Frost Armor. Replace your class ability with a burst of Stasis energy that freezes nearby combatants and slows nearby opponents and grants you increased Frost Armor. So basically the goal here is to get Frost Armor. We're running it on Prismatic, so we're only getting 32% increased damage resistance on top of the overshield you're getting. This roughly runs us at about like 80% DR. Okay, so we're running it at about 80% DR. We don't have a sword here, we're running double snipers. All right, and let's get into Darcy. Now, Darcy is slept on, in my opinion. It is an amazing sniper rifle in the heavy slot. And when most people do runs for this, they're using Izanagi's Burden, things like that. I've seen people use Still Hunt, but for the most part, when you see a lot of people go out there and they're doing this second room where they're killing the Tormentors, they're using Izanagi's Burden. And that's fine. It's totally doable. I've seen people do it. It's fine. But that's not really my style. And the reason why is because with Izanagi's Burden, if you suck at shooting like I do, when you try to take your shot, and let's say you miss, you now have to burn through more ammo, do 2 reloads basically, to get your supercharged shot, and then you might miss again. And then you have to go back to the ammo crate to get more ammo. And if a Tormentor is enraged, especially the one on the right-hand side, he'll rush you, which is kind of a pain. So with this, I think I've got like 26 rounds with Darcy. And Darcy will hit for about 500 damage, about 450, 500 damage, depending on the boosts you have, etc., etc. Darcy's amazing. I mean, it's got 100 recoil, 75 stability. It's a 140, so it's a rapid-fire frame. And it is, I mean, you can take out a Tormentor's shoulder pad with 1 magazine. And that's not an exaggeration. So if you get a good, you're in a good place, you can take out 1 shoulder pad, bang, 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 done. Reload, move around, take out the next one. It's really stable. And the thing that I haven't mentioned here is the chaining effect of the lightning, because it jolts targets when dealing damage. So if you hit an enemy, all right, there's going to be jolting damage. So let's say, and you'll see it in the footage, I'll take out an ad, and then that damage will jolt the other ads. And eventually you get to a point where the other ads run out of health and they die too. So it's ad clear, it's boss damage, it's a nice combination. I literally run around with just this thing on most of the time. It is a fantastic gun for this specific area. I'm not saying it's like the most perfect gun in the world, but it's really, really good for this specific run. Now, in the energy slot, I've got Shoreline Dissident. Shoreline Dissident is a new sniper rifle from the Edge of Fate, from Portal Activities. And there's some similarities here. You got 85 recoil, 76 stability, right? It's a 140, it's a rapid fire. So I used a tier 4 with triple tap and high ground because high ground works really well against the Witness. You have basically a standing, I think it's like 20% damage boost against the Witness just for having high ground. Precision Instrument works just as well. But this is the one that, this is Shoreline Dissident. Just make sure you boost up your recoil, boost up your stability, and it'll basically shoot very much like Darcy. And you're running around shooting this thing anyway, you'll get used to shooting this thing. I don't really use this against Tormentors. This is just here as a placeholder to keep the ammo going. You know, but if you run a Darcy and it's not safe to go back to the ammo crate, you always have this. Lost Signal is here to flush out the Tormentors in case they're kind of stuck in a location. They don't like to get damaged. So you kind of try to shoot from behind the blocks that they hide behind. Generally speaking, you just have to pay attention to which block they're hiding behind and watch for their shoulder pad and try and take it out. Going into the Prismatic subclass, we of course have a Stasis Super. We need it for Icefall Mantle, so that goes without saying. The Barricade, I mean, the class ability doesn't really matter because Icefall Mantle has its own cooldown. Of course, you know, let your jump of your choice. Once again, Shield Throw. Pulse Grenade, it comes in clutch from time to time, but mostly with the grenade, we're using Unbreakable. And the reason why we're using Unbreakable is because, you know, it blocks a ton of damage. It's pretty, you know, it's like using Stronghold, only it's an ability. And basically, it gives you a Void Overshield while you're sitting there blocking. Well, why do we want to avoid Overshield? Well, for starters, it gives us 70% damage resistance, but also it helps us recharge our class ability. So once again, we've got our grenade and our class ability feeding back into each other, which is really, really good. So we want to be able to do that. This gives us like 40% increased recharge rate for Icefall Mantle, which is phenomenal. I have Knockout here in case I get desperate and I throw a shield throw and I get an overshield and health. I don't end up using it, so put whatever you want here. It doesn't really matter. If you want to throw on more aspects, that's fine. But this is what I used. You know, Festive Dominance, in the event that I kind of don't need Unbreakable, I can throw this and jolt enemies, and I've done that before. That's often helpful. We've gone over Festive Hope. Festive Protection, of course, we're surrounded by enemies, you know, a fair amount of the time, so it's good to get a little DR. Festive Courage, you know, this is more sort of for the Prismatic Grenade stuff. You know, if you find yourself stuck, and I'll show you some footage where things don't go as well in one of these Tormentor runs where I have to go Prismatic and I throw grenades and I throw shields and stuff like that. This comes in handy with that. This comes in handy kind of, you know, helping to damage them. And really, Facet of Solitude is really, really good because basically you're using your sniper rifle to hit critical, you know, you're hitting crit shots with it and you're getting that severing effect. And this works against the Tormentors. So it's nice if they decide they're going to throw some void damage at you and things like that. It's good to have them severed. Moving on to the armor, we got the Tech Sec helm here, and we've got our arc targeting, so it improves our aim down sight speed and accuracy, which is always helpful. Again, this is just kind of here to be here. You know, we're not looking to pick up orbs of power here. We're literally just looking to kill these Tormentors and move on to the Witness. Again, more arc stuff. We're arc loader. We're going to just speed up the reload speed of Darcy. So we want that because I think Darcy's reload is not amazing. It's 40, so you want to be able to reload that as fast as you can. Your boilerplate damage resistances, obviously. Again, we're kind of building into the arc boosts. If we get armor charge, you know, I mean, do we get any? I don't know. It's more sort of like if the artifact gives you armor charges, then go for it. I think this season's artifact does have that. I'm not really going to get into the artifact because I want this to be evergreen. And most of the stuff in the artifact I didn't actually use for the most part. You know, I think you'll see maybe, you know, you'll see some of the semi-auto striker here where you get, you know, if you have fewer than 2 stacks of armor charge, you shoot with sniper rifles and scout rifles and you get that armor charge. So you'll see that. That does show up here. But this other stuff doesn't really. We're not really doing much else here. I mean, Shield Crush might be helpful. You know, have my melee recharge faster, but I'm not really using my melee, so it's kind of a weird thing. So don't mind the artifacts. It doesn't really matter. Just use what works for you. Use what you think is going to help you survive and crank out more damage. And then here, you know, we're just recharging our abilities. When we use our class ability, we're recharging our class ability. We're recharging our grenade. It's definitely helpful, so we're doing that. All right, so that's build number 2 for the Keystone Tormentor room. And then for Witness damage. For Witness damage, we're going back to Stronghold, and we're going back to Void Stronghold. But we're changing things out a little bit. We're having our kinetic loader in the Stronghold gauntlets because we are looking to reload our Revision 0 a little faster. Now, why Revision 0? Revision 0 probably is one of the highest damage output exotic primaries in the game. That's just my opinion, and I'm sure there are people who can, you know, verify that one way or the other. But the notion here is you hit a bunch of precision damage, you fill up a meter, it's like a 4-bar meter, and then you can press, you can long press reload, and you get basically 4 sniper shots. But if you have the 4th timer refit, you get 6 sniper shots. Okay? Not only that, but you get Vorpal Weapon here, which, I mean, if you're shooting at the witness, you're going to get 20% increased damage. So you get 20% increased damage and 6 shots. And these crank out to about 830 damage per shot. I tested this against Still Hunt, and it does about the same damage as Still Hunt, but it's an exotic primary. Still Hunt ekes out a little bit more damage, but not by much. And the reason why I'm going with exotic primary is because I don't want to have to worry about ammo. I ran, Mint Retrograde and a sniper rifle and all this other stuff, and then I found myself kind of out of ammo, waiting around for the ammo crate to regenerate and wasting time. Whereas if I'm using this, I'm not wasting any time. I'm still cranking out a decent amount of damage. I'll have one phase where I'm shooting the crit shots, filling up the bar. I block the witness's attack. Then I special reload and shoot my 6 shots of high damage and do something crazy like, I don't know, 6, 10, about 5,000 damage just with an exotic primary. So that's the reason why I'm using Revision 0 here. Ill Omen is a sword to use to block with, but it also used to hurl discs at the witness. In my run that I'll show you, I don't really do this too much, mostly because I was really concerned with making sure that the run was solid and that I didn't screw it up. So every now and then you'll see me hurl the disc here. If you want to do that more and you can get your timing right, go for it. And again, Shoreline Dissident, this is the main sniper rifle I use against the witness. I'll often throw a weakening grenade and then pop off the sniper shots, and they'll do about 500 damage a pop. The great part about triple tap is that with the magazine being what it is, you can get something like 9 to 10 shots from a magazine with triple tap. So it's really, really great because the ammo just comes out of thin air. It's pretty awesome. Getting into the subclass, the super doesn't matter because supers don't exist in Witness Land, so don't sweat that. Of course, Rally Barricade, same stuff here. The only thing that's changing really is we're changing the grenade. We're going to Vortex Grenade because it does more damage, and we're throwing it a longer distance, so it kind of does damage over time. And we're changing out this to Echo of Remnants so that the Vortex Grenade lasts longer. But otherwise, same deal. Finishers, Weakening Grenade, and your Overshield and Invisibility last longer. And that's basically it. There's only a couple changes here. We're maxing out our weapons, of course. We want as much weapon damage as humanly possible. I do want a little bit more recharge rate with my grenade, but for the most part, this is pretty good. Most people say that like 160 weapons is usually pretty standard. Getting into the armor pieces, again, we're doing kinetic targeting. Just like we did arc targeting with the last build, we're doing kinetic targeting with this one. Going into the Stronghold arms, we are doing kinetic reloader to make our reload faster, of course, because this thing does have a fairly slow reload. It's got 43, just like Darcy's is pretty low, so we want... But the Rally Barricade will help you with that against the witness. If you pop your Rally Barricade and you reload, you're doing okay. But if we go to once we go to our boots, we'll explain how that's not really even that much necessary. Again, it's, standard boilerplate damage resistance, of course. And then, here, I think I've got the wrong boots on for this. But basically with this one, what I did was I put 2 kinetic holsters in here. And the reason why I put 2 kinetic holsters in here is because it reloads reloads Revision 0 while you're doing other things like blocking, shooting with the sniper rifle. It'll reload it. Not to say that you're not going to reload, but it does help a little bit when you're just sort of switching between weapons. So, and again, what are we doing here? Are we killing enemies? No. It's like we could bake in, when you pick up an Orb of Power, you get this stuff. Again, like we're not picking up Orbs of Power. We're not really getting a lot of armor charges here. Okay, we're not picking up ammo. Okay, so at the end of the day, you're going up against the witness. You're not killing other ads and getting Orbs of Power and doing these things. So you're a little limited in what you can use. So we're just going to do a loader because that's what we got to do. And again, back to this, we're doing the same thing we were doing before in the last build. So there you have it. Those are the 3 builds I used to defeat the witness solo. Obviously, if there are things you think you're more comfortable with, you could tweak with. If you want a better sniper rifle, like, I think Keen Thistle has a bait and switch, which would work fine in a damage rotation like this. You could shoot Revision 0 and throw your caster frame. And you can get any caster... literally, if you don't have a caster frame sword, just go to the Monumental Lost Lights and pick up Chivalric Fire. That's a Void caster frame. Xur sells caster frames. Banshee sells caster frames. trust me, it's better to have a weapon that you can throw damage at. These will do about 1,000 damage when you hit with the caster. It's not amazing, but it's better than nothing. But it's a way to kind of keep your defenses up and make sure that you don't die. Because a lot of people's struggles with fighting the Witness is those attacks take up half the thing, and if you don't dodge right, you wipe. And wiping in this is terrible. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you stay alive, and that's kind of the point of this thing, is to make sure that everybody stays alive. But yeah, I mean, this is basically what I used. So I'll get into the gameplay footage, and we will move on from there, and I'll show you how I did this. So let's get right on into it. All right, immediately switch to your sword and run to the rally point right in front of you. Pop a barricade and rally to the banner. Now, you're going to block and jump to your left and just keep blocking damage and stay alive. We're not going to worry about the ads. We're not going to worry about them. You can tank a ridiculous amount of damage here. That's the beauty of Stronghold, and that's the beauty of a flash counter sword. If you got a regular flash counter sword, it should be fine, so long as they don't nerf the interaction between flash counter and Stronghold. But I used this with Quick Fang previously, so that was kind of my jam because I could move faster with it. You move ridiculously fast with Stronghold while using Quick Fang. All right, so here I go. Ready? Boss goes down. 1, 2, 3. He's down. Plate opens up. Boom. Make your way over to the plate. Pop your barricade. Bang. Here we go. And we're just going to block damage with our Overshield and our Stronghold. You might get bounced around here a little bit. That's okay. Just be mindful of the overload and the Unstoppable Champion. You're going to stun your overloads easily. Here I go and try to do some finishers so that I can go invisible, because it's always good to be invisible in this particular part. If you've watched other content creators make this, they'll go as Hunter and they'll just go invisible, or they'll use Heart Shadow and go invisible. I don't do that. I just block with Stronghold, okay? Because Heart Shadow is kind of hidden behind a dungeon, and you have to farm for it, and ain't nobody got time for that. So you'll find these guys go away like a Little League Baseball team that has lost the game, except for this guy who he sticks around. He wants your lunch money. You just take him out. It's not hard to do with a Cold Steel Sword. You stun him, you whack him, he's done. You make your way down to the second plate keeper. All right, so make our way down here, and this one takes the longest. It's got kind of the most health. Take a look at this blue block right here. I'm gonna jump on it. And then we're going to set up our barricade. We're going to set up shop here for a little bit. And basically you can see the other two plate keepers. There's one that's going to pass by in front of us a couple of times. We're going to take some pot shots at him. And that gets the other plate keeper's attention. So we hit one shot acquire of one. And then we start shooting away with our Kinetic Tremors Scout Rifle, which is super duper helpful. You'll notice our armor charges to the left. I haven't collected any orbs of power. I haven't done anything like that. But I've broken a shield. And with those 2 shield break charges, guess what? We got 2 armor charges without having to collect any orbs of power. Okay? It's a beautiful thing. People don't use it very often because it takes up a lot of space in your gauntlets, and it's better used for building your melee and grenade and all that good jazz. But I'm kind of digging the shield break charge. I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. So what we're doing here is we're building up our super. Okay? So we're just shooting at anything we can. We're shooting at both plate keepers, if at all possible. And we're building up our super. We're about, let's say, 3/4 of the way there for the most part. We're building this up. And be sure to use this red block as cover when you don't have your barricade. It's very, very helpful. I get a little gutsy here later on, and I could have completely ruined the run if I wasn't careful. So, but see, there we go. There's the magnetic grenade doing its job. Okay? I don't have to throw it too far, and it connects. It weakens the wizard, and we can keep taking pot shots at her. Okay? Again, full armor charges, full kinetic weapon boost, which is very nice. 22% increased damage to everything, including the weakening damage at 15%. So when you weaken her, all those kinetic tremors hits are weakened hits, which is really nice. So you're cranking out some good damage here. All right. So see, we got the grenade, throwing the grenade. And honestly, if I was a little bit more slick, I could have thrown that grenade and then thrown my super and done a lot more damage. At the end of the day, done beats perfect. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. So I'm going to break her shield here, pop up, make sure I've got a good angle, and then throw the super. 1, 2, 3. We got her down to about half. So we get back up on the blue block over here. All right. Just be mindful of her shooting at you because she will connect and she does do a lot of damage. So you just gotta be mindful of that. All right. Got the grenade up, so we're gonna toss that again. And have it connect. Boom. There we go. More kinetic tremor shots, and they're all weakened shots, which is good. We got our plate keeper up there. We're gonna take some shots at. Chunk his health down a little bit. And basically, this is kind of how it goes. I mean, this takes a little bit. This one takes the longest to take down, honestly. The Tormentor, I think, is the second longest one. But this one takes a little bit to take down. Got it down to her last sort of chunk of health there. But basically, you just kind of keep doing this. Keep dropping your barricade. Keep hitting with Choir. Keep hitting with your kinetic tremor scout rifle. Notice we've got our grenade back, which is really great. So we're probably going to do that next time around. I don't think I connect with this one, but you basically want to see that. I'm pointing right there. You want to aim. You want to aim for that little corner in that pillar over there. And once she passes over, you throw the grenade, and because it's magnetic, it'll attach right to her, and you don't have to worry about nailing your grenade shot. It just works. All right, so one choir of one shot, kinetic tremors again, pop down the barricade, keep doing this, and we've got about half our super back, if you've noticed. All right, we've used 2 supers so far. We're going to use 5 total in this run, and I think this one takes about 15 minutes to do, but 5 supers in 15 minutes is pretty stinking good, not for nothing. And I think it's just a combination of the weapons and the super stat. So again, make sure you're ducking behind that red block there for your damage resistance. You want to make sure you're not getting your clock cleaned by her shots, because she will shoot you and it does hurt. See that? Almost got wrecked there. That's not great. So you want to make sure that you duck down behind the red block to make sure that you can dodge some of those shots. So super's almost full. Gonna keep plinking away here. And again, this is really safe. I mean, you're not getting rushed by overloads. You're not getting attacked by prismatic weavers or anything like that. There's nothing going on here. There's nothing else. You're just taking on the wizard, and that's it. If you watch the other YouTubers do this, they hang out up where we were before, and they try to take out the wizard from there. They try and take her from the high ground. And it's tough to do, and you get shot at, the overloads rush you. It's a pain in the rear end. I tried doing that, and I'm like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. So I found this spot over here, and it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. So I said, all right, this is where I'm doing this. So, I've kind of done this, dozens of times to try and make sure I get it right. So it does work. It does work very well. Notice we have our super recharged. We're going to use that on the next plate keeper, just simply because it's the easiest way to take him down. And you'll see I kind of screwed that up too. So just be mindful if things go poorly. Don't worry about it. Just keep at it. Keep trying. Keep working at it. Because sometimes they don't go well. And things don't go well a lot in this specific run. It's kind of crazy. But I basically finish her off with Choir of One here, switch back to the sword, and run back the other way. I do a lot of taking the long way around. I really don't want to run into any enemies. I'm kind of like an assassin here. I'm just taking out targets. I don't care about anybody else who's here. I just care about the high-value targets. So we're going to go to where he is. And he kind of hides a bit. That's kind of the difficulty with this guy, is that he's kind of hiding behind this block a little bit. What I've done in other runs is I'll just get on top of this block, jump up really high to make sure I've got a good angle. That's what I like to do with Twilight Arsenal. I like to jump high and make sure I've got a good angle with him. And so that ensures that I connect. I think I hit him with 2 axes here. Yeah, I don't even think I hit him with 2. I think I just hit him with 1. Not great. Not a great situation, but that's okay. That's okay. You just roll up with Stronghold. You pop in there. And with the melee attacks on this guy, especially these big bosses, they do these big stomps. He stomps once, and you've got a small window to throw an attack in. Alright, so it's typically what I do. I wait for the stomp, and I go in for an attack. There he goes. Stomp. I throw a grenade, and that basically finishes him off. Just about. There we go. Alright, so whack at a couple of guys. We're back to our plate strategy. Almost get wrecked. But we popped the rally barricade, and we have an overshield, so now we're a little more tanky than we were. We got a chance for Stronghold to kick in, because we are flash countering and getting our health and freezing enemies simultaneously. So we're taking this plate, get frozen a little bit, no big deal, just keep at it. Just hang out, frozen again, and look at that. There they go. Bye, guys. You lost. Too bad. Better luck next time. We move on to the final plate here. We're only about 10 minutes into this, and we're already kind of doing good. We're getting our third plate. We just pop in over here. Again, drop the overshield. There we go. Just blocking damage. Blocking that Weaver shot. There's literally nothing else on the game other than Stronghold, shield, sword blocking. That stops those Weaver attacks. I'm not even kidding. It's kind of weird, but there's nothing. You're just going to get yanked around a lot if you don't have something there. So that's the other benefit to Stronghold, is you can just block those Weaver attacks, and they're not going to pull you off the plate, which is a beautiful thing. And notice I'm freezing all these guys, and they're just kind of standing still. So if they're standing still, they're not attacking you. All right, so they're done. Have a nice day. Again, better luck next time. And then we jump on this little ramp over here. Okay, see this ramp? I'm going to jump on that. And look, there's the Tormentor right over there. I'm going to pop our barricade down. And look, we can just shoot at him over here. And look, he can't attack us back. So we're just going to kind of hang out and plink away at the Tormentor. And we're just going to take out his shoulder pads. I use Choir of One a lot here because I got a lot of extra ammo hanging around, so I'm going to burn it. You know, and I switched to the Kinetic Drummer's Scout Rifle as well. We got him down to about a third of his health right now. We're going to pop one of those shoulder pads here shortly. There goes one. And the beautiful thing about this Kinetic Drummer's Scout Rifle is it has one for all as well. So the cool part about it is that the Kinetic Tremors will hit the other enemies, and that'll give you an extra boost in damage. I try and hit him with a grenade here, and I think I fail. It just kind of drops at his feet. I don't even think it does anything. I don't think we're getting any real damage off him. And I kind of struggle a little bit hitting him with Choir of One. I got to tell you, like, the precision shots there just aren't cooking like I think they are. So then I switch to the Scout Rifle, get the Kinetic Tremors going, and now I have my super. So I'm going to hit him with the super. All right? This is the 4th super in 12 minutes and 44 seconds. Okay? Pretty flipping good. All right? So now, once we pulled off that super, we get to a safe place, and we switch to Ward of Dawn. All right? And we're going to build up the super for Ward of Dawn. Now, we got him down about a third of his health, and we're just going to keep plinking away at him like we always have. Very simple. You don't have to go in. You don't have to rush him. I'm not going to go out of a Tormentor with a sword. Are you nuts? That's not happening. We're just going to keep shooting and using Kinetic Tremors, and we're going to build up our super. And I switched to Choir of One here for a little bit, just to kind of burn through some of that, because it does a little bit more damage than the Scout Rifle. Okay, but then this guy steps in the way, which is super annoying. So then I switched to the Scout Rifle and Kinetic Tremors the heck out of all those guys. And the cool thing about Kinetic Tremors as well, if you've ever used Multi-Mach, is that it builds up your super real quick. You know, you're looking at all this damage that's happening, all right? And it's building the super. See, we're at 3/4 of the way. And it'll be, like, perfect. Like, absolutely perfect. Like, by the time I finish off this Tormentor, right as I finish him off, bam. There's the super. It's ready to go. Super number 5. So we're going to go the other way around. We're going to go back the way we came. And we're going to turn left over here and make our way up to the final plate. Now, you kind of want to sneak up this way. You don't want to go through the subjugators. That's not a good idea. You want to go around this way because the subjugators still think you're on the other side. So do the other enemies, for that matter. You pop your Ward of Dawn, and look at that. I immediately got yanked. So I easily lose about 10 seconds here getting frozen and suspended off of my Ward of Dawn. This Ward of Dawn lasts about 40 seconds. So I lost about 10 seconds there. So that's not great. Okay, so you want to make sure that you can pop your Ward of Dawn and get in it. And you should be able to kind of like hang out there till about the 9 o'clock spot on this little star. If you do it normally. If you get yanked, it's more like halfway, like I'm doing right now. So I pop my barricade because this thing's about to go away. And there it goes. No more Ward of Dawn. Still on the plate. I'm getting frozen. Alright. I'm getting yanked off the plate. Not a good scene. But we try to make our way back over. Barricades still giving us some overshield, which is really good. We need it. Now it's gone. So now I have to kind of block damage. Problem is that there are no enemies in near proximity. So because of that, my Stronghold is not kicking in. I'm not kicking in that restoration times 2. So I walk over to this guy, block some damage, so I get that restoration back. And then I kind of pop back in the plate, and there we go. Even though we're frozen, we pulled it off, and they all go away. I don't have to deal with them. All right? So that's it. That's the first room. That's the end of it. All right? If you can block and you can shoot enemies from a distance, you can basically take out this room. All right? So that's the end of this video. We'll be moving on to the next video. We'll be taking on the Keystone Tormentors, and we will be taking on the man right there, the Witness himself. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.